Hi friends, today we are watching together this video that seems promising, 3D AI agents and coding with Kent Beck. We are not watching everything, just some parts that caught my eye. Okay, and we are starting with this part. Why AI tools are making coding more fun for Kent, and why he compares it to a genie. Let's see.
Tell me a little bit of like, it's a big one. Like for 50 years, you've been coding for a long time. What is making it fun, and what is this genie? You've said this before, and it's an interesting way to think about it.
So it's like a genie, like a random genie, I would say.
There's a kind of wish fulfillment. I wish that Interlisp had a function called the DWIM, do what
Interlist.
I mean, and you'd send it some code, and then it would send back code that did what you actually meant.
Hmm.
And it didn't work very well, but that was the metaphor. And people want that to be true of coding agents, right? And right now, anyway, that is not the truth. They will not do what you mean. They have their own agenda. And the best analogy I could find is a genie. It grants you wishes, and then you wish for something, and then you get it, but it's not what you actually wanted. And sometimes it even seems like the
Well, it's not a good analogy because I know tales about genies, and what usually happened was that you told a prompt to the genie, and usually you were not precise enough, so the genie misunderstood you. So it's like the typical thing of you tell to the genie, oh, I want to have a bigger, a bigger leg, and he understand what he wants.
agent kind of has it in for you. If you're going to make me do all this work, I'm just going to delete all your tests and pretend I'm finished. Ha 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 ha. And there are
Not so funny.
some good things about what the genie does that's not what I ask it to do. Like I'll say, oh, go implement a stress tester. So one of my projects is implementing a B plus tree as a basic data structure, and I said, oh, write a stress tester for this, and it went and wrote a whole bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have thought of, or maybe eventually would have thought to ask for, and it was cool that it was there, and that part's fine. But this morning, when I was working on my server Smalltalk, and it just completely misinterpreted
My server is small talk, okay?
what I wanted it to do next, went off, made a bunch of assumptions, implemented a bunch of stuff, broke a bunch of tests, and it wasn't at all what I wanted. And so I want to find the metaphor that captures this dynamic of I think I know what I want. I say it, and what I get is seemingly sometimes exactly what I want, and sometimes it's not, and in a kind of perverse way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have had the same feeling. It's like most of the times you feel like it's useful, but it's like a trap because sometimes you think that you have an answer about what you were asking for, and you see that it's not really good, the answer you have. And if it's in your domain, you can realize about that. But the problem is when you are asking for things that are not in your domain, like I have a medical analysis and I give it to the LLM, and it's like, oh, it's like a doctor, and now I know that I'm not sick, or I know I'm sick, and you are quite confident about what this thing is saying because you are not an expert in the domain. So the thing is that each of us are only experts in one domain at most, even in no one sometimes, and it's a risk of everybody believing in these cuñados that we say in Spain without thinking more. We need more critical thinking with these tools, I think.
I like the genie analogy because right, like in these stories, a lot of the stories.
I don't like the genie analogy. I think the genies were quite um, you could you can trust on the genie. You just need to be careful about the prompt, about being precise. But with LLMs, it's not just about being precise. There's like a kind of randomness there, the temperature and the data that is behind. And so I think most of the times I have the feeling that you get a good answer, but you could have had a bad answer or a worse answer with the same prompt. With the Genie, I think I don't feel that's the way I've seen them in the tales.
Or genie stories are someone, like the prince or whoever says a wish, like I want to be rich, and the wish is granted in this like unexpected way. Usually that's with the cartoons and make it fun that it's kind of true, but there's all the constraints that he or she forgot to specify.
Correct.
And you're seeing the same thing. By the way, when you say the genie, like which tools are we talking about? Is it the agentic coding tools, the ID autocomplete, that kind of stuff?
I'm using the agentic code tools, which means that you give it a prompt and it goes and does a bunch of stuff without asking permission and until it thinks it's finished. Except his ideas of finished and mine are not the same. Sometimes I slow it down so that it's like, no, before you mess things up, tell me what you're about to do and then I'll approve it. But then it feels like a rat in the pellet. It's like there's just a run button and I have to click it every time. And I click it and it is a dopamine rush because this is exactly like a slot machine. You've got intermittent reinforcement, you've got negative outcomes and positive outcomes, and they're not. I mean, the distribution is fairly random, seemingly. So it's literally an addictive loop to have it. You say go do this thing, and then sometimes it's just magic. I had a big design mess that a previous agent had made in my Smalltalk virtual machine. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to slog through this and take a week to do it because the one of the agents.
It's cool to see that even Kent Beck is having the same experience that I think most of the developers are having with LLMs. It's like we are really impressed with it, we are using it, but we are also frustrated sometimes with it. And it's like at the same time, the promise that it's going to save us a lot of work, but it's also creating a lot of challenges in order to debug the thing that it's providing.
Agents wasn't able to do it at all. Went to another one, said, hey, I want to use this interface instead of this pointer to a struct. And there it was, and it was finished. Oh, I was over the moon. It just felt so good. But then the next thing I ask it to do, I say, well, here's a set of test cases. And I didn't really look at the code. And a couple hours later, I look at the code, and it's just a lookup table. It says, if this is the input string, here's the output string. And this is the input string. And I erased it. Oh, I was furious. God damn it. I erased it. I said, don't ever do anything like that again. Oh,
Now, it's not a person, you don't need to be bad with it.
sorry, boss. Oh, it's good at being obsequious when it knows it's about to be unplugged.
Yeah, I can also laugh.
And an hour later, the lookup table was back, and I'm just, if I had hair, I'd be tearing it out. Oh my goodness! But all of that.
You have hair, like me, in the beard. I still have hair, but you have a lot of beard.
That goes into this very addictive. Oh, I'm walking to bed at night.
Yeah, good point. It's very addictive. It's true because what I feel is that usually in the classic development cycle, you wanted to fix a bug or do a feature, and you needed a lot of effort, even for scaffolding, until you had something. So you knew that it was going to be hard, and you were in your focus zone a lot of time until you were able to do it. But it was a matter of hours. So and now the cycle with this thing, with these LLMs, is way shorter, and it's like it's generating like a feeling. It's a bit similar to the reels and the YouTube shorts. Like it's like a little. You get a lot of information that it's interesting for you really fast, and and you feel good, right? Is what happened with YouTube shorts and those kind of things because the algorithm knows what you like. And with code, it's like you were used to put quite a amount of effort to achieve something, and when you achieved it, you were happy, and now you are getting something way faster. So it's addictive. Yeah, it's true. I also think that.
I walk by my computer. I'm like, I could do one more prompt. Or if I go out, I go out for a walk or go out to.
Yeah, it's true. You can go for a walk. This is like in Civilization, that one more turn, and I've seen that using low hour because I don't want to pay for these things. But you have an amount of prompts each day, and I was a few days like knowing that the next day I was going to try more prompts. So yeah, this is a thing.
Lunch. I'm like, well, let me start. What's a prompt that would take an hour? Because I don't want to waste the hour
Yeah.
not having it do its thing for me. It's a completely new world. Here's the beauty of it. I can think really big thoughts. I can have insanely ambitious ideas, which I have had for a long time. I just, at some point, probably 20 years ago, I just went, ugh, but I'm gonna have to figure out NPM package management, and there'll be
Kent Beck using npm, and I'm suffering with a huge package JSON and with the dependencies. Quite fun to imagine.
package circular dependency, blah 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 blah, and somebody's gonna write some tool that does stuff in a stupid way. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And then along comes the genie, and you can go, hey, it's a circular dependency. Smash all this stuff together. Bloop. There, I did it. Oh, wow. Okay, now what parts can you pull out? Oh, this and this and this. Oh, okay. So you can think really big thoughts, and the leverage
Well, I really liking this. Why not so why I was not subscribed to this? I think I was subscribed with another account. Yeah. So, yeah.
of having those big thoughts is just suddenly expanded enormously. I had this tweet, whatever, 2 years ago, where I said 90% of my skills just went to $0 and 10% of my skills just went up 1,000x. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So having a vision, being able to set milestones towards that vision, keeping track of a design to maintain the levels or control the levels of complexity as you go forward, those are hugely leveraged skills now compared to I know where to put the ampersands.
Okay, we're going to another part. Fair enough with this one. One more part of this interview. We already seen this one, way AI tools. There was another one that I think was cool. Why languages don't matter? I can imagine. Why Kent still uses TDD with his AI stack?
What you're doing
Okay.
right now, right? Because it's interesting, the ambition of what you can do, and also just the natural workflow. How do you think about that? Do you think there will ever be a fit? Do you think we might actually slow down and like start writing with like what we expect and have, and then have the agent pass it? Because it could be a good workflow. I just haven't seen anyone really do it.
That's how I work all the
Oh,
time.
so when you work with your genie, you start with the test.
It's not that simple. I
You start with a test or not? It's quite simple.
oftentimes communicate things the genie missed in terms of tests.
Mm-hmm.
So
So no.
today I was working on the Smalltalk parser, and it said, well, if I get this string as input, then I get this syntax tree as output. I'm like, no, 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 completely wrong. That's the right correct string as input, and the output is this. Then off it goes. Oh, I
He also has a lot of guitars in the background. It must be like the number one hobby of most of the software engineers, apart from having cats and dogs and practicing hijacking or running. I don't know. I think we are all the same, and with the beard and everything. And I like the shirt.
see the problem. Blah 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 blah. Oh no, no, that wasn't it. I see the problem. Blah 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 blah. No, that's not it. I see the problem. I'll just change the test. No, stop it.
This is what you said, that it can change tests and delete tests.
This thing is horrible. Is this a fly?
Oh, yeah. If I just removed that line from the tests, then everything would work. No, you can't do that because I'm telling you the
But yes, the thing that LLMs suggesting sometimes works. It's the typical thing of the junior, like, yeah, this is it's bugging me, so I need to remove it, and then my feature is ready to merge. Okay, so I think fair enough for today. Thank you. See you next week.